rated. Shout out to him. This is the Shit Pitch Whisperer day, guys. Let's get to the money.
Let's get to the
money.
Let's get to the
money. Let's get to the motherfucking money.
Fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, 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 fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. Middle finger in your ass, screaming fuck the bookies. Woke up in the morning, grab my little black book. Yesterday can eat a dick, cause we lost by the hook. Can't win them all, so you never see me get shook. Today's a new day, the bookmaker's getting cooked. When I spot a dirty K of 4 units getting played, always find the value, I will never be afraid. Scary money don't win, but I'm not going all in unless I see a bet I love, then I put my balls on a bookie's chin. Let it all soak in, doubling my bread, winning money with my friends. If you got the itch and you wanna go big, follow Sharpie bets and you gon' really fucking win. This is not financial advice, it's entertainment. But if I find the right price, believe I'm parlaying it. You can see my spreadsheet, I'm winning, not just saying it. Profit in the green every week, I'm never negative. I can bet an ace or a shitty old picture. Pick the right spots cause I'm the K-Prop whisperer. Shut up when I speak until you finally get the picture. I'm the best in the world, tell me you getting richer. Fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, 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 fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. Middle finger in the air screaming fuck the bookies.
Let's get to the motherfucking monies. It's more like fuck Sharpie, fuck Sharpie. As this fucking song's playing, Cease throws his strike. They call a ball. It's a walk. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Welcome to the Balking Dead. I'm your host, Sharpie's Bets. And this show is sponsored by Prize Picks. So if you haven't already, go on over to Prize Picks. Use that promo code PUBSPORTS. And yeah, let's get into the day. As this song and this show starts out with, today is the Shit Pitch Whisperer today, guys. At the end of the day, we're here to talk about a few games. There's only 3 left on the board, and I'm gonna skip two of these pitchers. Like, I'm not gonna talk about the Red Sox Orioles pitchers. No which way in hell. I do have some big breakdowns on the other 2 games. Today is the Field of Dreams Day game, and I believe it's could be a rigged game, and we'll get more into that when we talk about it later on, or else I'd be smacking Lodolo. But let's talk about it. Shout out to the chat. Smash the like if you haven't. If you're in Twitter world, this video will end shortly. Hit the link and come join the fellas. I see you, my motherfucking guys. LJ, Rocco, let's get to the business. Yeah, guys, one game starts off in about 30-40 minutes, so let's talk about that game. We got Brubaker versus Kelly, guys, and I do have a half-unit bet in this game, and it's not on a K-prop, so let's get to it and talk about it. Brubaker's prop is at 6+, plus 127. He's at 5 on Prize Picks at a minus 240, and his fantasy scores at a 24.5. He's averaging 5.8 over his last 10 and 5.8 over his last 6 games. He averages 7.4 strikeouts per 9 at home and 10.3 on the road. He is on the road here. He does average more strikeouts. He strikes out about the same, left-handed and right-handed, 9.4 per 9 innings. And they are putting out 5 left-handed bats and 4 right-handed bats today. No Kettle Marte is in the lineup. So, let's talk about him. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, I had to dig up and do all this shit on guys that I just ain't gonna fucking bet. But if I could give you the information to make a bet, that is what this show is also about, and I will give you fucking info. So, he has a home 5.4 ERA and a road 3.9, but he has played 5 more games on the road, so take that into effect, and I would say I bet you his home ERA would drop to around the 4.2, and that's where his road is at the end of the day. So don't take too much into his home road splits when a guy's played 5 more games, and it's not too much of a difference in my opinion. So at the end of the day, the issue with me is he has a day 6.41 ERA and a night 3.8. This game kicks off in about 30-40 minutes, and it's in the fucking day, guys. So he's been worse on the day, even though his numbers say he is better on the road. So he is on the day at road, and yeah, you're rolling the dice right here. He's played this team 2 times now, and when I run the numbers up versus the numbers where they're at now, this team's hitting the same exact fucking numbers except the ISO, which that may help Brubaker, but he gave up he went 8 hits in 4 innings with 6 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, and a walk back on June 3rd versus this team. Now, they were walking 9.5%. Now they're only walking 7.2. Strikeout number still the same, right around 18%. This team doesn't really strike out often. They're just one of those teams that can, but most of the time they will make contact. Excuse me. And the OPS is still the same, right around 690. It's the ISO that's dropped off. It was a 182. It's now a 148 now. I talk ISO a lot. 148 is about league average, guys. That's you're getting a lot of singles with your hits. There's not many doubles or home runs. There's no power behind that, and that may help Brubaker today, guys. So at the end of the day, the numbers are pretty much the same, other than their ISO, and they were out of the world. They almost had a 190 ISO last time they played. So they got to him, and I wouldn't be surprised if Brubaker goes out there and has a good game. Now, am I going to bet a K prop? No, I would look more towards his fantasy score if I was to bet him, strictly because he has 0 wins and 4 losses to 6+ strikeouts versus some of the teams that I put with Arizona that do not strike out. Some being the Mets, Cleveland, St. Louis, Washington. Those are teams that I will run up against anybody's box score and see what you did. And in those games versus those type of teams, he's averaging 3.8 strikeouts a game. And look, he had 3 strikeouts versus this team. Coincidence? I think not, guys. So can he have them strikeouts? Yes, he could have one of those outlier type days, but I expect more of just a solid 6 innings and 3 earned runs or less type game. And yes, that's solid, guys. I mean, maybe not for, what you think, but at the end of the day, that's really good. And that's only a 4.5 ERA, guys, giving up 3 runs through 6 innings. 4.5 seems really bad, right? Well, take that into effect. A quality start is 6 innings and 3 earned runs. So 4.5 ain't as bad as what you seem, and this guy has a 4 on the road, and the only issue is his day ERA, but when I break into his stuff, it's more than just his left-handed, right-handed strikeouts. He allows a 290 batting average from the right-handed side and a 270 from the left. So it's not like he dominates one side. And his whip is just absurd. He allows 1.5 base runners per fucking inning, pretty much, left-handed, right-handed. This guy's a fucking head case to be betting on with how many people he's allowing on the base. So at the end of the day, just Brubaker ain't one of those guys for me to bet on. So K-Prop says no, but Fantasy Score says yes to me, in my opinion. And let's get to the other side of this, where I do have a bet on this, but not a K-Prop. Merrill Kelly versus the Pirates. Kelly is K-Prop is 6+ at +120. His price picks is 5+ at -205, and his fantasy scores at 36.5. Over his last 10, he's averaging 5.5. Over his last 6, he's averaging 5.8. So they're giving us plus money on a prop where a guy's averaging 5.5, when normally we wouldn't see no plus money, and it's the Pittsburgh Pirates, right, where we picked on them, right? Well, at the end of the day, numbers change, so do teams, and we track that shit on this show, guys. And this team ain't as bad as what the numbers say strikeout-wise as they have been, guys. So coming in hot, Merrill fucking Kelly. He's averaging 8.4 strikeouts at home compared to 6.2 on the road, and he strikes out the same left-handed and right-handed, 7.5 per 9. When we get the lineups, and this is why I always look at the Pirates and talk how they're one of those teams, they're running 8 left-handed bats and 1 right-handed bat today, guys, like that. They're one of those teams that just stack lefties versus a right-handed bat, and they have a lot of switch hitters and are able to do that. Well, this guy's fine, guys. When I drop down his lefties, righties, you're going to give me 8 left-handed bats? Lefties are batting 217 off of Merrill Kelly this year, while righties are batting 233. So at the end of the day, the whip is the same each way, and he strikes out the same each way. The batting average drops to almost the Mendoza line, guys. So give me Merrill Kelly under 2.5 earned runs today. It's a -150. Now, let's get into it on why I ended up there. He's coming, and I did a half unit on that, guys. At the end of the day, I am known, and I do bet strikeout props. I just started betting pitching outs. I started betting hits. This is something that I'm getting into when I find other situations, and it's been profitable. I'm tracking it, but I'm not going to go full bore, balls dip deep into something that I've just started fucking with, to be real with you guys. So at the end of the day, I'm going to go half unit on it, and I'm getting an 80% clip that's won at over the last 10 games at a minus 150, to me that just doesn't add up. And he's allowed less than 3 earned runs in 8 of his last 10 games. He allowed less than 2 earned runs versus these Pirates back on June 3rd when these Pirates were smacking the fucking balls by the numbers, guys. 229 average, not smacking. 780 OPS, 245 ISO. Yeah, they were crushing it when they did hit it. Maybe they weren't getting on base every other fucking time, but when they did, they were hitting yoppers, guys. So he went out there, had the most walks he's had in the entire year. He gave up 4 walks. He hasn't had more than 3 in 2 games, guys. I think maybe 3, but as many games as this guy played, he has never had 4. This was the only game he had 4, and he still gave up 2 earned runs in 5 innings versus this team. And this happens to be the last time this man hasn't gone over 6+ innings. He's gone 12 straight games going 6+ innings. The last time was versus these Pirates on June 3rd, and they were hitting back then. They're not fucking hitting right now, guys. They're at a 227 average, 648 OPS, and an ISO of 113. All bottom 7, guys. This is time to take advantage of a hot pitcher and a guy who's fucking dominates the left-handed bats, and they're going to load us up 8 left-handed bats. 2.5 earned runs just didn't make sense, guys, at that minus 150. So I hit the under on that right there, and that's earned runs allowed by Merrill Kelly. And then on the other side, it was his pitching outs was at 18.5 at minus 150, and he's hit that 60% over the last 10. So that's a minus 150 line where he's hit 60%. I'm betting a minus 150 line that he's hit 80% over his last 10. And then his K prop, guys, this is where it's going to be interesting is I think he actually gets it, guys. Now, I don't bet thinks, I don't bet ifs, and that's strictly on him being out there that long. He's going to need to be out there 7 innings by the numbers to hit his 6 strikeouts. But it is the Pirates. They are a little more free swinging than what they are, and he dominates these guys. So I expect them to be a little more free swinging second and third time through the lineup. So if he doesn't get some strikeouts first time through the lineup and handles them and you can live bet him, this is where I'd look at him second or third time through the lineup, guys, because then you got to take a different approach. It's not working, and I don't think whatever approach they come out with Merrill Kelly today is going to work for them, guys. So I am going to take him and expect him to go out there and dominate this team, guys. 2.5 earned runs is just, are you stupid? You stupid? Yeah, I'll fuck it, dude. You got me, motherfuckers. I thought I wanted his hits. That was at 5.5 at a minus 115. But see, he's only hit that at a 60% clip over his last 10. So by digging through all of that shit with Merrill Kelly, I found the best odds on it, percentage-wise, that's hit. And I'm going to just have to ride with that right there, guys. I think he's going to go out there and dominate like he has the last fucking 8 out of the last 10 games, and Pittsburgh is just not that team to be afraid of, in my opinion, and we all know about that. So it's not like I'm the only guy saying Pittsburgh sucks dick, because we all know they do. Shout out to the chat, guys. You guys fucking rock. Smash the fucking like if you haven't. And, yeah, let's get to it. And, yeah, we got to talk about the Field of Dreams game. That will be a game that we got to talk about. But this game is cracking off shortly. That's why we had to talk about it. And the only hitting prop I could even mention, guys, is Christian Walker. He's won us good money. But no Kettle Marte in the lineup is just, I'm not going to bet it, but I still got to talk about it for you guys. He has 2 hits and 2 at-bats, very small sample size, and a home run off of Brubaker. He is on a 5-game hit streak with 8 hits and 13 total bases in those 5 games, and they put his 2+ bases at plus 134. That shit doesn't make sense, and if it doesn't make dollars, it don't make sense. So if you're looking for a hitting prop in this game, Christian Walker over 1.5 bases, and this Pittsburgh bullpen over the last 15 days is not much to write home about. So you've got multiple action on a guy who's hot. And at the end of the day, Brubaker will give up some hits. It just is what it is. Life's a bitch, then you marry one, and Brubaker will give up a few hits. So, let's talk about the last game. First, I'm going to give you a quick little hitting prop, talk about Rafael Devers, and then we're going to talk about the main game of the night, guys. It's kind of like an ESPN night. I was going to call in my boy C-Mac with the pack, and I decided not to because it's a really shitty game that we got to talk about. I didn't want to really waste his time to talk about the Reds and the Cubs, but I've got a page and a half fucking written out and broken down and broke up and fucking snip, snapped, and boomed, and we're going to find some ways to make some money off this fucking game tonight, guys. So The only thing I could talk about that I haven't bet yet, but I'm going to look at, and if I bet, I'll tag it, guys. But at the end of the day, Rafael Devers has a double and a home run off of Kramer. Kramer has given up 2 home runs from the left-handed side this year. One of those was to fucking Devers, and they put his home run prop at plus 250. Now, we don't bet no plus 250. If I was to bet him, it would be the 2+ bases at minus 122. A lot of the times, guys, you're going to shy away from that minus 122, but would want to bet a plus 250. You got to hit that at every 2.5 times, or else you're losing money, guys. And you got to take that into effect, the juice on some of these things. And shout out to C-Mac. He got me not wanting to bet anything close to 400. I mean, I'll dip down to plus 350 sometimes, guys, because y'all know I like my girls plus 350, but that's a different topic for a different day. But, Rafael Devers would be the look for me. This guy crushes righties. He swings for the fences, but that Baltimore pen has been fucking good. And once again, it's not just the starting pitching. You have to take in the bullpen. Now, I do have hitting props and some shit I want to talk about. And I would smack Nick Lodolo in this next game up, guys. The last game on the board is the Cubs versus the Reds. Reds versus the Cubs, however you want to call it. I don't know which team's really the home team, and really nor do I care, because to me, I'm going to consider this both a road game when I crack into their map and start doing numbers into their map. And how do they pitch on the road? How's their strikeouts on the road? That's what I'm going to have to look into. And let's talk Drew Smiley. And I did me a little mini black book on him. I did 5 games and broke them all down. I mean, there wasn't much to do today, so I had to get into this shit and figure out, see what's going to happen, at least see if I could see into my crystal ball. I do that shit a lot. I love that. But smash the fucking like if you haven't. Hit the share, hit the retweet, and let's get to it. Drew Smiley is been actually good, guys, at the end of the day. Over his last 5 games since he's been back off the IL, the dude's been legit. They put his K-prop 6+ plus 118. They have his 5 on prize picks at a minus 143, and his fantasy scores at a 26.5. His last 4 games, he's averaging 4.2 strikeouts. And if you take in his last 5 games, because that's how long he's been back, it drops to 3.6. But that game, he had 1 strikeout versus a team who beats the living dog shit out of him, and that's the Dodgers. I know that. We've owned him for a long time, and he got whooped when he came and seen us again. So I'm going to throw that one out. He's averaging 4.2 strikeouts a game since being back, and they're going to give you 6+ at plus 118, or they're going to give you his 5+ at minus 143. Well, let me tell you what. The strikeout percentage number says, yeah, you can play it, but he's gone up against a lot of teams where the strikeout percentage, where the last game out, 29.3 versus the Dolphins. It's football season. Y'all know I'm looking at football. But versus the Marlins, they had a 29.3 strikeout percentage and weren't hitting, and he only had 4 strikeouts. Then he went up against San Francisco. They had a 25% strikeout. They weren't hitting. He ended up going 4 innings, 5 earned runs with 5 strikeouts. Then he went up against Philadelphia. They were not striking out. He got 4 strikeouts. Then he went up against the Mets. They weren't striking out. He got 4 strikeouts. And then once again, the Dodgers. So every team he's gone up against that that are showing a high strikeout percentage, he's getting 4, 5, or 6. So if you're one of those guys who likes to drop somebody down, Smiley seems like you can drop him down in that 4 spot and tie him up to something. I know people like to make parlays, hook pitchers to alt pitcher parlays, and I'll definitely one of the spots where you got to look at him. So I just don't want to run him today because I think he gets living dog shit hit out of him while he gets his strikeout prop, if he gets his strikeout prop. This team is the hottest team he's seen all year, right up next to the motherfucking Dodgers, guys. So when I told you I did a mini book on him, and in the last 5 games, he's been fucking cranked 2 times. Dodgers, Giants. And now he's going to see a team with better numbers than left-handed than the motherfucking Dodgers did. Like, everything by the numbers say he's in for a long fucking day, guys. Now, at the end of the day, this is the Reds and the Cubs, and this is the issue with me is who played in this game last year. And I talked about this with my basic regular day homeboy who doesn't bet baseball, but he's a big Cincinnati Red fan because he's from Cincinnati. And You don't see that every fucking day. But at the end of the day, he stopped by today and we were talking. I'm like, hey, who played last year? Those fucking Yankees and fucking White Sox. I'm like, what happened? He goes, fucking bomb fest, bro. I'm like, yoppers, yop. Yeah. At the end of the day, I think they're gonna have juice fucking baseballs. This is the prime time game between two shitty fucking teams, and they've got a bunch of kids there in a minor league ballpark. At the end of the day, this is not a major league. They've cut this shit out, and it's minor league dimensions, and this team's hitting, guys. At the end of the day, I think both of these pitchers are going to get racked, even though everything tells me Lodolo is going to go out there and fuck with his eyes open today and get a bunch of strikeouts, and he's going against the worst team he's faced all fucking year. I just think this game's going to be rigged to some way of the over. Once again, I preach this shit too. The Reds are favored in this game. Yes, it's by like 4, 5, 6 cents. You tell me how many times the Reds have been favored this year, guys, okay? So at the end of the day, I wanted to bet the Reds first 5. If this wasn't a fucking Field of Dreams game, I'd be all over fucking Lodolo here, guys. So at the end of the day, he's a fucking monster, and he's getting a layup. So let's talk about it. Smash the like if you haven't, like I smashed BBWs, and let's get into Nick Lodolo. And he's averaging 6.5 strikeouts over his last 6 after coming back from the IL. But once again, that's a fake IL. They put him on the IL April 24th to save his arm and to keep his innings down some, and so they could pay him less in the long run. So they put him on a 60-day IL and let him pitch in the minors the whole time. Yeah, douchebag shit that the MLB does, but he's been back since July 5th, and since July 5th, he's averaging 6.5 strikeouts a game. They put his K prop at 8+ at plus 118. His 7 was at a minus 209, and his fantasy score is at a 32.5. This guy's a beast. We're talking road now. He's averaging 13.7 strikeouts on the road, and he strikes out 14.1 left-handed batters per 9 compared to 12.1 right-handed batters per 9. Both fucking elite. And projected lineups at the time, I haven't got them yet, were 9 right-handed bats and 0 left-handed. So even if they run an all-righty lineup, this guy fucking strikes out 12 per 9. So he should have 9 by 6 innings by the number. And I get all that shit because we look at their numbers. 26.3 strikeout percent, bad. They're not walking. 6.9, they are not hitting. 156 average, 516 OPS, and an ISO of a 131. Like, this is the worst team when I run this guy through my black book. And this guy's in there, guys. This guy punches people out fucking enough to fucking pay attention to. So if this wasn't the Field of Dreams game and I didn't think this would be rigged, I would be on Lodolo 8+, guys. This is just, I just have something weird in my stomach telling me that this is a rigged fucking game. So sometimes I might be wrong, and more often than not, I'm right. And I'll be like, you sneaky sons of bitches. But this K prop, guys, it's a little higher than it should be over his average, but he's going up against a team that's been striking out a fuck ton versus the left-handed side. We've been picking on them quite a few times. The only problem with Nick Lodolo is when he goes up against teams with a high strikeout percentage, and this guy's gone up against a lot of teams with a 25% strikeout percentage or more. Well, not a lot, 3 out of 6. He's only averaging 5 strikeouts a game in those games, guys. So he's gotten his punchies versus teams that are not hitting most of the time. So now we've got a team not hitting. Now we got a team striking out a fuck ton. The only other time he's seen numbers like this is versus the Brewers last week, and he didn't get it. Well, let me tell you, he got squeezed on a couple calls. I'm not going to make excuses for a man. You still got to pitch, but they were not giving this guy the low strike one fucking bit. Like, not one bit. And it was frustrating him, and he was running around the mound, had his little panties in a bunch, and it got to him. He had the most walks he's had in a while, but I think he gives up a lot of walks, if I'm not going to lie. But at the end of the day, Milwaukee's been hitting is what I'm going to get to. Over the last 3-4 left-handed hitters, they've been fucking crushing them. And I've been staying off the last 2 because I've noticed it. When I ran Lodolo, he didn't get hit. Then when I wanted to run Springs, and I seen him get to Yarborough in 3 innings. And then I seen him get to Springs, even though Springs got the strikeout prop the next day. I was just like, okay, this team's fucking coming around. The numbers are skewed right there. When we look at these numbers again in 6-7 days, it's going to say Milwaukee's putting their dick down left-handed pitcher's mouth. So at the end of the day, I'm going to throw that one out the window. And if you're looking to play Lodolo, other than I think the game's rigged, go for it, guys. So I don't think that's a good enough reason. If you're already on them, don't be fucking like, I got to go cash out. But if you see fucking home runs start flying left and right, just be like, juice balls, man. At the end of the day, the MLB wants home runs. They want runs scored. This is the primetime game. They're going to have a bunch of kids there. It's just disgusting. At the end of the day, it's disgusting. And I think the Reds can go out there and just jump all over Smiley. And Lodolo should go out there and fucking hang, go 6-7 innings by the numbers, guys, and fucking hang and do the damn thing. But once again, numbers are like lawyers, and it's our job to fucking figure out if they're lying or if they're just telling us the truth. And I just think something to do with this being in the Field of Dreams game that I just got to stay off of it at the end of the day. What I won't stay off is fucking hitting prop. But let's do a little more. Talking off the hitting. I got to talk about the one. Okay, I talked about enough pitching. Pitching sucks today. I hate talking about shitty pitching. Like this today was the worst ever that I had to do some crazy ass breakdowns on pitchers that suck dick under a bridge for milk money and they're lactose intolerant. But the only ones that have been legit good this year are Lodolo and Merrill Kelly, and we got to them too. I just keep them under 2.5 runs, Mr. Merrill. And like I said, Lodolo screaming at me that he's going to go out there and put his dick on the table and have 9 strikeouts in 6 innings. And the Cubs are this bad. But I'm going to have to kick back on it. What I am not going to kick back on is these hitting props. So I'm going to talk about one, and then I'll talk about the 2 that I bet. The one that you're going to see if you look at some straight hitting up, like who's got good numbers, is Aristides Aquino versus Smiley. It's only 9 at-bats, guys, but he has 4 hits, 1 singles, and 3 yoppers. Yop! And they're giving us his 2+ bases is at plus 135, and his home run is at a plus 400. If you look at his stats this year, guys, and if you look at his lefty versus righties, it's going to show you that he's actually worse versus lefties. Nah. This guy's just been ass this year, guys. At the end of the day, he's been ass this year until recently. And if you look at his career numbers and go back to last year and the year before, this guy crushed left-handed pitching. So at the end of the day, he's turned it around. He has 5 hits in his last 7 games, and he's got really good power numbers off of Drew Smiley. So if you are looking at some plus money, 2+ bases is at plus 135, and his home run is at a plus 400. I'd look more towards the 2+ bases. But once again, that home run, he's got 3. This is a minor league ballpark. I think balls are juiced. I think if you like players for hits today, you should sprinkle home runs. Just take a little bit of both. And, yeah, is what it is. Is what it is. Now let's talk about the 2 I bet. Ian fucking Happ, 2+ bases at plus 114, and I sprinkled the home run at plus 500. He has 7 hits in his last 6 days with 11 total bases. He hits lefties at a 333 average compared to a 260. Slugging's 477 versus lefties compared to a 417 versus righties. And his OPS is an 860 compared to a 760. And we got the 20th worst bullpen coming in after Lodolo and the Reds over the last 15 days with a 4.20 ERA. And y'all know what I like to do. We roll up and smoke that bitch if it's 4.20, guys. And Reds are telling me I got to go out this here and run this hot-ass Cub who smokes lefties. And they have a bad bullpen. Sign me up. Too much value on his home run at that plus 500. Thought I had to do a little dippity dip. And then we're going to get onto this, the hitter on the Reds, where I think he may be the best fucking hitter on the Reds. And like I said, it's finding the Reds bats that you think are going to destroy this guy, because I think Smiley's going to get cracked now. Now, how is he going to get cracked? Donovan Solano used to play for the Giants. I've seen fucking so much National League West baseball that this guy's a fucking machine, guys. This guy's a fucking great hitter. He's a career 300 hitter, and he's hitting 300 again this year. So let's get to it. He's in at like 280, but still close to it. So, when Like I said, I think he's the best hitter on this team. He's batting 306 versus lefties, 293 versus right-handed, 415 slugging versus righties, and his slugging goes up to a 470. And his OPS is a 770 versus righties, and it's 827 OPS versus lefties. We have a decent bullpen over the last 15 with the Chicago Cubs, but they have traded a lot of their pieces. And where I expect this game to be at is I expect the Reds to be ahead by quite a few runs, that I think they will use the worst end of their bullpen here instead of the better end of their bullpen. And I'm looking at this guy to get his hits, runs, RBIs 2+ at -130. That's where I bet Donovan Solano. He doesn't have a lot of power. He has 3 home runs on the year. You go through his career, he's not a big home run hitter, but we are in a minor league ballpark. And +500 on Donovan Solano just wasn't enough for me. His 2+ bases is at +117, and that is worth a look. But I thought the hits, runs, RBIs 2+ -130 was the bet here, guys. So shout out to you guys, 50 fucking plus. It's a fucking shitty card today. I appreciate you guys for turning in. The only thing I have bet pitching wise, guys, is I have a half unit on Merrill Kelly under 2.5 earned runs at -150. If you want the breakdown for that, go back through, catch the very beginning of it. That game starts off any fucking minute. If it hasn't already, sorry if you caught this end of it. I did give it out earlier. And everything says Nick Lodolo should go out there and smash his K-prop, should go out there and actually fucking win the first 5 in first game. Other than, I think the game's rigged. Am I paranoid? I may be. Paranoia may fuck me in the end. But just be surprised how often I'm right with these paranoia spots, guys. At the end of the day, I've always bullshitted about a show about fucking conspiracies and fucking baseball, and we're not talking UFOs, baby. I fucking swear this fucking game is rigged, and it's finding ways that it's rigged, guys. So at the end of the day, my show ain't shit without you guys. Smash the fucking like if you already haven't. Hopefully Jesus is being nicer to me than what he was before the show, because I was taking square kicks to the balls with certain props that I've already bet today. So may the gods be with me, because they're probably with you guys right now. So until next time, go on over to Prize Picks, use promo code PUBSports. Wire your first match deposit up to $100. They got you guys. So go do me a favor, do you a favor, and use that fucking promo code. Tomorrow is a stack day. We will get back to the business, and we will fuck these bookies in the eye hole. Until next time, double up,